Mentorship. Choosing the right mentor. Now, the way I see it, that there is no tool more valuable than having a mentor when it comes to business, on the business journey. A mentor is invaluable. Some people are lucky, they have more than one. Some others not, some not so lucky, they're still on the journey to find one, and some manage to do well without any. But that being besides the point, I can say that mentorship, personally for me in my own journey as an entrepreneur, and spanning well over 15 years, has been a tool that is invaluable. And I think the reason why is because mentors allow you to keep yourself and your perspective mainly in check. And that's really, really, really valuable when it comes to business, and especially when it comes to, those of you that are first-time entrepreneurs or business people, coming from a family maybe that have never been in business and things like that. So access to information, access to mindset, access into being able to self-evaluate, and being sincere and authentic about whatever it is, what skill sets that you do have, and more importantly, what you lack and need to acquire in order to achieve your objectives in business. And for me over the years, I think that is something that I got, I wouldn't say wrong, because I was privileged to have mentorship or receive mentorship, whether I even knew it or not, because yes, sometimes that's how those relationships actually happen. You might even not realize that someone is mentoring you when it's not something you seeked. And it could be anyone. It could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be someone on the same trajectory or journey as you. It could come from anywhere. Okay, it does not necessarily need to be another business person or someone in the same field as you, but someone who has the ability to empathize with you, to see where it is that you are coming from, someone that has an intimate understanding of the way you understand things. That's why, coming back to what I was saying earlier on, I've had the privilege of having a few mentors over my journey. There's no such thing as a mentor that is not valuable. Absolutely not. Someone that provides insights, whether those insights seem to have worked for you or not, they insights. That's data points. That's valuable. Whether they seem negative or positive, you can still use that information, to your benefit. So, as I said, I've had the privilege of having mentors from all around the world and all walks of life over years, over a span of more than a decade. And really, really people that have been successful in business in their own right. So the insights from them are invaluable. The learning from them was invaluable. The knowledge was invaluable, but there was something missing. My mentors that came from different cultural backgrounds, different economic backgrounds, didn't think like me. They were teaching me to think like they think, and I can't explain how it's really, really, really hard. Even when you understand, look, man, I don't think the way you do. You must remember, keep it in mind that I'm a South African. I was raised on the Cape Flats in Cape Town. I have a very particular way of thinking about things. I have a very different way of seeing life. Even business for that matter. I was never exposed to big business. I never grew up in that kind of environment. I grew up in an environment of educators, not business people, people that any kind of risk, they were completely averse to. So the way I saw things was really, I wouldn't say distorted, it was just different. It was different. And until later on in my journey, I stumbled into an old friend who was on a very similar trajectory to me with a similar background. A little younger than me, but we had a similar background, raised in the Cape Flats. We had a very similar way of thinking. We had and lo and behold, a few years later, I realized that this person has probably been my most valued mentor. This is the person I could call up 2 o'clock in the morning and they take my call, and they'd be able to connect with how I felt about anything from a very, very deep level. I could feel that synergy, and that made a difference. That, I think, probably was one of my it was my most valuable asset when I realized that. And I think for both of us, we didn't understand that, we didn't realize that. And the reason why I'm saying this to a lot of entrepreneurs is that, a lot of the time we're looking at people and we're looking at their achievements and their success, and we think that how they have achieved things for themselves, maybe they were mentored by whoever, in their particular cultures or environment, and maybe they're from the first world, some first world environment, so their thinking is very different. People are under the assumption that they would be able to think in the same way, and it will be of benefit to them. That is more the kind of mentor that you seek, and no, you're wrong. I will say flat out, I'm not saying that you are wrong from a business perspective, but you might gain insights relating to, how to advance your business, not insights in and how to advance you as an entrepreneur. And there is a lot to be said about this journey, especially for those of us that are from South Africa, Basically, the idea of not business, but self-definition prior to the business journey, and I think that matters, that, everybody wants the outcome of freedom that money or time will give them. But the question you need to ask yourself is, who are you? Are you someone that has the capacity for that? Do you even want that? Do you even want that? Not do you want it? Of course you want the outcomes, but do you want what it's going to take to get to those outcomes? And that's something you've got to ask yourself. I think, business people have to, they seriously have to ask themselves that question, especially you that are new into business, going into business. Really, do you want the sleepless nights? Because you're going to have them, you're going to get them. Do you want the broken relationships? Do you want the not being able to do things that your peers are doing? because you need to save in order to execute on a particular project, or that money's got to go into the business. So meaning that, yes, your business has got cash flow, but you personally have to fund your business from your pocket, and your savings are gone. Your ability to live life like everybody else now is not on par with your peers, and that's harsh. That's harsh. When it comes to all of us, you're a human being. You know what I mean. But the reason why I bring this up is that mentorship will allow you insight more into yourself. If you choose a mentor or pursue a mentor relating to your development, not a business. I mean, business is formulas, business is networking, business is, it's numbers, it's so many different aspects. But if you are developed with inside of yourself, you can withstand that storm. And the only person that's going to allow or access that self-development is generally people from a similar or the same background that you come from, that will allow you to develop those levels of self-insight and self-development, because that's going to be the rock you lean against as you go from one goal to another, as you grow in your business model. And even when it comes to my clients, there's nothing more rewarding than spending time with my clients to find out about their business, what their dreams are, their objectives. And I think that has probably, to me, been one of the most exciting things about this journey. The most exciting thing about even being in business is to have access to people that I can communicate with, that I could connect with on a personal basis. That gives me the strength to endure what I would consider almost the unendurable, from month to month, from year to year, and no, not these leaps forward. This literally one foot at a time forward. It's a grind. It's ferocious, and sometimes a couple of steps backward, but what I'm trying to say is that keep your core strong. And what keeps your core strong and growing and developing is not what happens on the surface. The core of everything is not seen. It's the roots, So choose your mentor wisely. Choose your mentors wisely, because the impact that they have on you is something you yourself will struggle to fathom, because it will impact your mindset, which will impact your business. And to a large extent, I do think that as a Black South African yielding from the Cape Flats, mindset matters. Mindset matters. Confidence matters. And being surrounded by people with a similar belief absolutely matters. And I know this video is way longer, but you know what? This is a passion subject matter for me, and I'd like to make more videos moving forward relating to this particular subject, because it's big, it's not small, and we're dealing with one facet, and there are many facets to this, and please keep in mind, it's my opinion. My journey is not your journey, but I do think that we can gain insights from sharing our journeys, exposing our journeys to each other. There's value there, and to me, that value matters. That value resonates. from one person to another, you know. So it's a value chain. Doesn't just one person has it and it dies there. I mean, it's actually something that gets passed on. And for now, that's my 5 cents. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please keep in mind that if you have any questions, you know what to do. Let's take it from there. Have a good day.